What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with another Destiny 2 video. And with the weekly reset coming up this week, Bungie are going to drop the 700th patch for the game since Edge of Fate. Although maybe we shouldn't complain that Bungie are patching the game, as the alternative would be, well, I guess it would be worse. This week's update actually is a bit of a bigger one. We've got a few sandbox changes in there, as well as more adjustments to various progression components of the game, so we'll round up the changes that are coming today. On top of that, this week we get the epic raid, of course. There are some things to be aware of there. We'll talk about new weapons and rewards, various things we know about the weekly reset, and tune in for exotics this week. So if you guys find the video helpful, do us a massive favor and hit subscribe. A large number of my viewers haven't yet done that, so if you feel like helping me out, it would make my day. Otherwise though, let's get into it. Initially, a quick thing to be aware of, Bungie have said, we're investigating an issue where players who put chronologs into the vault may lose any additional claimed chronologs. So at this time, we recommend not putting chronologs in the vault, and if you have any in the vault, take them out of the vault, as otherwise any that you pick up may just disappear. Kind of a weird inventory thing. But looking to other changes that we're actually getting in the patch today, Bungie have said they've prepared a fix for the lightweight sword issue, and this will deploy on September 23rd. So there's been that bug where they do crazy damage. That's gone on for, well, longer than we anticipated it probably would, so I guess we've had a bit of use out of it. Just keep in mind when we get into the game at reset, theoretically if the patch doesn't break something else or just make the sword more powerful, which seems possible of course, then it will no longer be a thing. Otherwise, looking to the future, Bungie have said they're working on speeding up the power climb beyond where it is right now. We've had various patches trying to address that, but they've all come in kind of small increments. Bungie have simply said there are more changes coming in a future patch. We don't know exactly when they'll be. It's possible we'll get some of them today, but we'll have to wait for the full patch notes. There are a few that will actually affect power in certain activities. So for September 23rd, Bungie have said they're increasing power gains by completing encounters in Desert Perpetual, ranging between 300 and 500 power, regardless of the number of feats active. On top of that, Desert Perpetual raid rewards will now drop starting at tier 3, with additional feats increasing the chances, so I assume that means tier 3 is the bare minimum reward from the raid. On top of that, they've said moving forward, the Cutthroat Combatant modifier will now count as 2 feats, so that will increase reward quality, and with regards to legacy raids and dungeons, they are removing weekly friction to exotic weapon rewards, so they have a chance to drop every time the source encounter is completed. That basically means they will be farmable all the time, so that will actually make them the most farmable they've ever been, technically. Outside of progression and reward changes though, there are a few additional sandbox components. So for Graviton Spike, they're reducing the bonus AoE damage on stasis overcharge hits versus players from 30 down to 1. So another nerf for that in PvP. Otherwise, on Grand Overture, they're increasing the total reserves from 48 to 58. And they're also reverting all of the nerfs to Queenbreaker from Edge of Fate. So that includes the 8% nerf to damage versus bosses, the 15% nerf to the charge time bonus from combat sites, and that essentially reverts all of the nerfs from update 910, which is good. Otherwise, on Chromatic Fire, they say they've returned the super-based elemental debuff application to its explosions. Then on Controverse Hold, they've reinstated the energy return for Vortex grenades, as well as their ability to trigger the exotic perk twice. So broadly positive there. Otherwise, on Younger Hamkara's Spine, they're fixing an issue where it wasn't granting the correct amount of grenade energy when killing Guardians with an ability, and it should now always give the intended plus 8% for Guardian kills and plus 33% for combatant kills. And that's before the effects of stat scaling actually come in, so those are all good. Otherwise, a few bug fixes, an issue where grenade and melee stats were giving less passive energy regen than intended, and that means, at base, that will reduce the cooldowns back to where they should be, which is going to feel better. Otherwise, they fixed an issue when purchasing an archived pass from the Monument to Seasons Past would not provide chronologs if the consumables inventory was full, and they will provide lost chronologs to those who were affected at a later time. Otherwise, they're fixing a problem with Pressure Cooker, the modifier for the portal, where it didn't allow players to receive their time bonus. And in Reclaim, Briggs, when you encounter them, will do more damage across all activities, so they'll certainly feel better. They kind of felt kind of weak the few times that I've actually found them in the mode, so good to see that. Keep in mind as well with the changes to prime drops from base rewards for activities, Bungie did push an update last week that increased the number of drops from various activities, and you can see some of those on screen, so worth keeping those in mind as we go into another week where some folks will want to be leveling up a little bit. Otherwise, in terms of content stuff, weekly reset will mean the end of Iron Banner and the first Ash and Iron week where there isn't an event live, so as far as we understand it, that means the Submersion Crossbow will no longer be able to drop, at least for the next couple of weeks until we get another event. I think we're getting Arms Week shortly. and then Festival of the Lost, so just something to be aware of. But as eyes move to the Epic Raid on the weekend, I understand not many people really will be engaging with that piece of content, unless you're a hardcore raider or a streamer or something, but if at the very least you like the look of this emblem on screen, you'll be able to earn this on September 27th starting at 6 AM Pacific time up until September 28th at 6 AM by watching any Destiny 2 stream with drops enabled and a linked Bungie account, so you'll be able to earn the gnarled tendrils emblem, which is a kind of cool looking one. Otherwise, for the Epic Raid, there will be a few new rewards, so that includes the armor set, which has been updated, so it's basically a different skin for the armor, as well as a new set bonus, so the 2-piece bonus is called Special Relativity, and picking up ammo reloads stowed special weapons from reserves. Then the 4-piece is Superluminal Motion, and after dealing damage with your super, health and shields regenerate over time while you're in motion, and additional super damage refreshes the effect, so that'll be the new set bonus. There will also be the Whirling Ovation Catalyst. Again, not many people have this exotic, but we'll be able to get the catalyst from the Epic Raid, and its filled determination and fully charged shots will over-penetrate weaker combatants and cause a delayed solar detonation with a brief scorching field, which sounds pretty interesting. Then of course there are a couple of emblems. So the first one is Fractured Timeline, which is basically the contest mode emblem for the Epic Raid, and you have to complete the raid in the first 24 hours. The other one is called After the Unknown, which is the normal Epic Raid completion emblem. You basically get that if you can complete the raid in full at any time. For the new weapons though, firstly, there is the Cusp Sempiternal, which is a Void Auto Rifle, actually a support frame. If I'm not mistaken, that's the first support frame we've had since Edge of Fate. The visuals on these are very similar to the other raid weapons, if not slightly different. You can see the full perk pools for these weapons on Light GG, so I'll link that down below, and if you want to find them, just search up the weapon names and you'll get them pretty quick. Otherwise, there's the Starscape Null, which is a solar shotgun in a lightweight frame, and again we can see the visuals for that one right here. And lastly, a new grenade launcher called the Ever Present, which is a Strand rapid-fire frame. So in many ways, the Epic Raid is kind of the continuation of the raid in general. New weapon rewards, a slightly more compelling set for the armor, and of course additional cosmetics as well as the exotic catalyst. So that kind of sets expectations for that. I believe Bungie have said players should be at 300 plus power in order to head into contest mode. So not sure how much our power will scale above 300 in terms of providing benefit in this raid, but Bungie may confirm some more about that this week. So let me know if you're going to be jumping into the Epic Raid. I think I'll probably watch from afar and see how it all pans out initially, not least because I have a busy weekend, but yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what it will be like. Presumably plenty of mechanical changes, maybe new encounters. Bungie originally teased that that was a possibility for Epic Raids, so we'll see what we get, and otherwise I think a lot of focus will be on the next sort of series of live events and updates that Bungie have. I think Bungie should be doing at this point, especially with player numbers kind of waning, but also now that Borderlands 4 has come out, which did pull quite a few players away from Destiny for a little while, I think it would be in Bungie's best interests to do a sort of double progression +1 tiered rewards week, right? Where players can jump in, get power progress at least double what we get right now, and get chances at higher tier rewards. If anything, to do an even more potent version of what we had with Solstice, where, of course, the drop rates were increased for higher tier weapons. So if I was Bungie looking at player numbers right now, maybe to bridge the gap until we do get things like Festival of the Lost, which is probably about a month from now, I think, that could be a really smart move. There's my piece of feedback, my suggestion. For the moment though, guys, that's what we have to round up today. I'll keep you posted if there are any additional patch notes worth knowing about at reset, as well as inventories for vendors and all that kind of stuff. We'll take a look at what's going on in the game. Plus we'll have Bungie's other news updates through the week, so if you want to stay up to date with all of that, get subscribed to the channel. Plus if you've enjoyed the video, a rating really does help us out, and let us know if you'll be diving into the game this reset. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.